The pod race, pod racing,
Pod racers. Pod racers.
pod race,
Pod race.
pod race.
Pod racing. Hello everybody, we are the Geeks and Degenerates. I am Enzo, this is my forever co-host John. Today, we talk about the Phantom Menace, as you've seen in the thumbnail and description. We're redoing this because back in the day we were a young channel, going through every plot line of a movie. So now we have a new formula, and since it's coming up the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, we might as well talk about the prequels.
I was like, the 20th anniversary of the Phantom Menace. I was like, that's not bad. Oh, the Revenge of the Sith. I was like, oh.
So, I think Phantom Menace itself is like 27 years old at this point. Has aged like wine.
What kind of wine?
We'll talk about it as we move along. But yeah, for those who are new here, how did you get introduced to Star Wars or the Phantom Menace in general?
I think, like, again, I was a little too young to appreciate the Phantom Menace at the time. But once we got around to like 2005 to 2006, we started watching the Revenge of the Sith. That's when we kind of like went back and we're just like, oh, okay. I wanna give the first one a watch and to give some context to the fucking story that we're in. But yeah, when I watched this as a kid, I was amazed. I was just like, fuck yeah, I'm so into this. Seeing a kid be on like what was it? What did you call it again? The pods, the pod racing.
Pod racers.
Yeah, and I was like, that shit's cool. It didn't dawn on me at the time when I was a kid. I was like, holy shit, this is quite long and dragging.
Yeah.
I just like seeing like the pretty colors, the droids, and like Anakin Skywalker. Like everything was great. And then as I grew up, I was like,
yeah.
I made my girlfriend watch it, and she was like, all right, when does it get good?
My first Star Wars movie was Revenge of the Sith. And like I watched the end of this whole trilogy, as you can see on the screen. So I was like, where does everything begin? And then we watched 4, and I was like, that doesn't answer my question, but okay. And like we went forward, but everything's older. But yeah, going back, like you, as a kid growing up in the 2000s, since Revenge of the Sith came out in the 2000s, I was like, everything's great. Everything. I like the pod racers. I like seeing the Jedi in their prime. I like seeing Darth Maul. And then we were watching it a couple of times when you're an adult. You're like, it has a special place in my heart. Is it the best movie? No. It's kind of like how Back to the Future 2 is my favorite movie of the trilogy. Is it the best movie? Not really.
No.
But I still like it a lot. Us doing this now is perfect since it's just the two of us and we grew up during the 2000s. And our generation grew up loving the prequels. There will always be like a space in our hearts where we grew up fondly with these movies. But getting right into it, I'm debating whether I should do the whole Clone Wars. Great Federation has launched blockade of Naboo. Forcing Queen Amidala's
yeah, go on.
Forcing Queen Amidala's hand to either sign for peace and agree to terms that would be horrible for Naboo, or hope for a miracle. And the miracle comes in the form of 2 Jedis, a Master and a Padawan, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And for all that you can say about Episode 1, and there's a lot to be said, I think they got the castings of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan pretty well, especially Obi-Wan Kenobi.
The negotiations were short.
Agreed, yeah. Ewan McGregor and like Liam Neeson, I was just like, yes. I wanted to see more of Qui-Gon Jinn, and that's why I loved that one little, what was it called again? It was the Clone Wars,
oh, yes. The Mortis arc?
Side story.
Yeah.
It was like a side story where we got to see more of like Count Dooku's and Liam Neeson's
Tales of the Jedi?
Tales of the Jedi, yeah.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon Jinn and Count Dooku's like why they separated and everything like that. And I love it that they got Liam Neeson to voice him too. So I'm like, yes, it doesn't break. I was like, I love Liam Neeson as a Jedi.
Yeah.
You saw him break every rule where he's like, yeah, you can't take on 2 Padawans. And he was willing to do it. He was willing to be the father figure that Anakin didn't have. Yeah. And we all know that, my God, if he just didn't die by the hands of Darth Maul, Anakin might have turned out different.
Probably. In their timeline.
Probably. Right?
If they ever do a Star Wars what if, that's a possibility.
Yeah, like like no offense to Obi-Wan Kenobi, but like he was still a kid when like he he took like Anakin on as a Padawan.
Yeah, still young in terms of being a Jedi. But yeah, you see how effective the Jedi can be. Like it's confusing. George Lucas's inconsistency can drive you mad. Like, why can Jedi run at the at the speed of sound, and then later on completely forgetting about it when it's time to battle Darth Maul and Obi-Wan has to run? And I'm like, don't you have Force Run? What's happening, Obi-Wan?
Yeah, wait, what happened to the speed dash that we had in like Force Unleash? You know?
Right? Did you like reset all your skill points? What's happening? Like they go down to Naboo, and that's where we meet a Jar Jar, and this is poor Ahmad Best, who does a great job with the material he has, who has been subject to horrible abuse online because of the Phantom Menace.
The Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I see it.
I'm glad he's back in Star Wars as a Jedi and Mando, and I know he directed an indie game too that's coming out quite soon. In terms of being a character, Jar Jar's not the best. You're like, as a kid, I was like, oh, he's the funny side character, kind of like Sid from Ice Age. Watching it now, I'm like, that's why I don't like both of these characters.
Yeah, like a lot of times I was like, man, Ahmed Best wasn't that bad. He wasn't. The writing was, and I was like, holy shit, this guy's unbearable. He was way more tolerable in the Clone Wars, where like he was kind of competent, a little. Okay, yeah. When he's a bumbling idiot, yeah, it does get on my nerves. But here it was so bad.
Yeah, him going, oh, he was a big wombat Jedi, and you're like, what accent is that? Like, can't be understated that there's a lot of stereotypes here.
Racist?
Yeah, you're going through it. There's a lot of stereotypes, like Newt Gunray and the Trade Federation. You're like, that is offensively bad. Watto later on, we're like, no.
Oh lord, I would love to do the voice, but I can't.
You know who almost became Jar Jar Binks? It's one Michael Jackson. I can't believe an alternate universe. We also already said about Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson are the best, but did you know they were considering other combinations like Tom Hanks and Hugh Jackman, or how about
Hugh Jackman as who?
Obi-Wan? Tom Hanks as Qui-Gon. For Qui-Gon, we got Morgan Freeman, Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
Who else?
Okay.
Kyle MacLachlan. If you don't know who that is the original actor for Paul Atreides in Dune. So yeah.
As Obi-Wan?
As Qui-Gon for
As Qui-Gon. Not gonna lie, I see it. He's a good choice. I did love him in like the Fallout series. I did love him in like all the other stuff, so I see it.
Yeah.
But I'm just happy they got Liam Neeson. After they saw Schindler's List, they were like, him.
Yeah,
I think it happened. Wait.
Yeah, it
Did
happened after Schindler's.
Okay.
Yeah. Also for Obi-Wan, we got Sir Kenneth Branagh. I can see that.
Yeah, Ken.
I know we're not in episode 4, but did you know that Toshiro Mifune was considered as Obi-Wan at one point?
Shiro Mifune. Who's that again?
He is one of the leads of Seven Samurai.
Ew, shit, my bad. Yeah, I would love to. Isn't he a little old at that point?
For A New Hope timeline, probably not. I forgot his age.
Well, he was like in his almost 30s in like the 50s when Seven Samurai.
That's true. Also, Tim Roth was considered for young Obi-Wan in Phantom Menace.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
I like Tim Roth. I want to see him in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. Like, you get all these, like, critically acclaimed actors. Like, you got Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon, Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. You also got Natalie Portman as Queen Amidala. I do love the fact that once they escape Naboo and, like, they're in Tatooine and she's like, the Queen would like to view these parts and Qui-Gon doesn't know that she is the Queen. And he's, like, downplaying her and she's not like, motherfucker, I am the Queen. You fucking listen to me. It's my mission. Or like when he's betting with Watto, like, I will bet you the ship parts and Anakin's freedom on this race. And she's not like, what the fuck are you doing? I, as the Queen, I disagree with this.
Don't do this. He's
Right.
a gambling man, you see.
Exactly. You see Tatooine and Naboo, and you see George Lucas like more heavy reliance on like CGI with like the guns and like the space creatures of Tatooine. Like, I'm sure the audience knows by now, but he was inspired by Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park because he saw how great CGI can be, and he's like, I can do that. He forgot that if you want a great movie, a great story has to come along with CGI. And this is because Lucas had full control of the prequels, unlike the originals, where he didn't direct all of the originals. He just directed The New Hope. So different people had different says on Empire and Return of the Jedi. Here was all George Lucas, and I wish someone was like had the balls
okay,
to
give
be
me
like,
that pen for a bit.
yeah, he was like, I don't think that's a good idea. Why are we wandering around Naboo for so long? What's the point of going underwater? Why are we prolonging the pod race scene?
Look, I love it that they did flesh out Star Wars a bit more. That like even in like Naboo, you get to see the sea life. Like there's always a bigger fish scene where, yeah, I don't ever want to like swim in these waters ever. Like George Lucas did a really good job with world building. Like seeing the fancier side of Naboo, you see a little bit of Tatooine, like more of like the atmosphere and like how the community works.
Yeah,
Especially with like, slavery's a thing there, pod racing's a thing there. I love it that they use F1 sounds for the pod racing
oh yeah.
part. I'm like, that is cool. It did drag though. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, this is a very long race scene,
Yeah.
but it's still cool.
You mentioned like lore building. He expands the lore of the Force too with the introduction of Anakin Skywalker and this whole concept of maybe he's the chosen one. But the way they do it is like so fucking lame. And like with the midichlorian count, I'm like, I don't like that they broke down the Force like that. Like you have to have these cells to be able to use the Force. And I'm like, so I don't have these cells. I'm fucked. Fuck. I thought anyone could be a Jedi. I thought you just had to concentrate and attune to the Force. No, I had to have midichlorians as high as Yoda's apparently.
Yeah, like before the Force was just again a mystical thing, and now it's science.
Yeah.
Like midichlorians and all that jazz. I guess it is kind of like, okay, we get to see the, like how time and age
Yeah.
like pretty much skewed what the Force was. When before it was science, now it's mystical and all that stuff. Again, as a Star Wars fan, and I still love Star Wars, even though I know some are shit. Like I get to see like, oh, maybe this is how the Force transcended time. It used to be all science, midichlorians, and all that shit, and now it becomes all mystical, and no one can answer because loss of knowledge through time.
Yeah.
And like, okay, that I could kind of buy, and I was still kind of on board. Like I could forgive that part.
You're right about the pod racing scene. Like rewatching this for this video, I was like, this is so cool. I forget how cool it's going on for a while. It's still going on. My God, it's still going on.
Yeah, no matter how the F1 sounds and like the references, it's still kind of just like, yeah, I'm like, okay.
It's like, man, even the Grand Prix is not as long and draggy as this. Not that the Grand Prix is ever draggy, but like.
Well, the Japanese one was kind of.
Oh yeah. Anyway, we are also introduced to two new Sith. One being the Phantom Menace himself, Sidious, but he doesn't have a name here, so he's just a Phantom Menace, and his apprentice, Darth Maul, this cloaked assassin that looks like a devil. You're like, Jesus Christ. As a kid, I was like, that's so cool.
As an adult, you're like, that's still so cool.
Again, alternative casting choices. Like, I do love Ray Park as Darth Maul, but they did consider another steely-eyed, cold-hearted looking actor for this role, which is future Star Wars actor Benicio del Toro. And I was like, God, if he brought his Sicario's looks to Darth Maul, that'd been fucking sick.
Oh, fuck. Well, I mean, Benicio del Toro wasn't like that at that time. He was kind of like
New.
like this very suave,
Oh yeah.
nasally kind of young guy. Before Sicario, oh no, not before Sicario, but like, yeah, a little bit before Sicario, we got the whole stoic, cool guy.
Yeah.
Well, in his earlier works, he wasn't that.
That's true.
So, alright, I'm kind of happy with, what's his name, Ray Park?
Yeah, Mr. Snake Eyes. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen videos of him, like, at cons, doing demos. I'm like, Jesus Christ, still got it.
Yeah.
Don't know how you're that athletic at that age. Deadass almost runs over Anakin Skywalker. I'm like, oh, okay, he ain't playing around.
Yeah.
And then we get to the worst part of the movie, which is in Coruscant, where it's just a lot of walking and talking, and sitting and talking, and floating and talking. You're like, watching that movie again for this video, I'm like, does this never end? I kind of want to go back to the pod racing. They're just walking and talking and sitting and talking, floating and talking.
They're talking about politics and all that jazz and galactic politics that you barely understand.
Yeah.
And you're just like lost. And yeah, as a Star Wars fan, I've sat through Clone Wars, but I was just like,
yeah, it's just
I got none of this.
It's
even though with a prior knowledge of Clone Wars, I'm like, I ain't following because I probably fell asleep.
Watching this as an adult, I was like, I have no recollection of this being this boring. Watching this again, we also meet the Jedi Council and get ready for the wildest alternate casting choice for Mace Windu. They almost got Tupac Shakur.
Let's fucking go. Oh, man. Okay, I love Samuel L. Jackson, but how crazy would that have been?
Right?
2 fucking pop stars in one movie. You got Michael Jackson and Tupac Shakur.
A powerhouse, the 90s soundtrack. Like, if that was a possibility, I would be surprised if George Lucas didn't ask them to do, like, a collaboration. Like, please.
Dude, if that was, like, how Star Wars was supposed to be, I wouldn't be surprised if they cast, like, Snoop Dogg as an alien.
Right.
Kendrick Lamar is, like, at a bar rapping. I'm like, alright, I'm in it. I'm in it.
Yeah.
I would love to see Sabrina Carpenter in like,
the most wholesome Jedi or bounty hunter you've ever seen. Refuses to kill anybody. You're like, you know what? I vibe with this.
Like, okay, these 2 pair I already know are in a sci-fi movie, but I'm just like, I would love to see Daft Punk with Max Rebo. Just on the DJ set, just like, fuck yeah.
Best DJ in the galaxy. But you can see how boring Coruscant is. Even George just like, we say going home. We're like, thank fucking God.
I was like, oh, this arc's done.
Yeah. And then they get to Naboo to try to fight off the Trade Federation. And then the Gungans make a pact with the Naboo people. Nabooians, I don't know what you call them. I don't know, man. Like,
sounds like a slang.
my bad, Star Wars universe. Watching the battle with the Gungans, you're like, you want the CGI doesn't age that bad. And then you see like the droid carriers move. I'm like, wow, that looks bad. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I was like, say what you will about the like Attack of the Clones. That was way fucking better than this.
Right. And inside, Queen Amidala and the Jedi fight, and then they get to the ship hangar to destroy the blockade, or get the ships to destroy the blockade. They're also joined by an unknown Richard Armitage flying as well.
Oh, was he in like one of the Naboo
fighter jets?
like,
yeah.
Fighters? Cool. Okay.
And then they make down the hall, and then the doors open, and you hear a Duel of Fates kick in, and it's still a fucking cool entrance. Like, Jesus Christ.
I know the fight is like 2 hours long, but okay. Yes, I say that the pod racing part was too long, but here you gotta just admire the dexterity of the actors here.
Right.
Like seeing Darth Maul absolutely kick ass, and like 2 of the best Jedi in the business too.
Yeah.
Minus Plo Koon. Like, holy shit. I don't know. I remember as a kid watching this, going to YouTube and just re-watching the Duel of Fates with shitty editing. You know, like 280p or some shit. I'm just like, yeah, cool. I'm good with this.
Right? Like at some points, I just think Darth Maul is just showing off. Like Ray Park Darth Maul does like a butterfly like flip. I was like, there was no need for that, but that looks so fucking cool. Don't care.
Dude, he follows it up with like he force pushes like a piece of droid or debris, close the door. I'm like, how are you gonna win? He's the coolest guy in the galaxy,
right?
Okay? But they do win with an amazing fight. I love that scene where Darth Maul bests Qui-Gon Jinn, which is sad. But you see Obi-Wan Kenobi just like wait it out, and as soon as they go for it, Obi-Wan's just like going at it. Unlike his master who waited patiently.
Yeah, he was just. I love the difference where Qui-Gon's just zen, but Obi-Wan's just like bouncing. He's like, let's fucking go, bitch. And you're like, alright, let's do this.
And like, say what you will, yes, they weren't aiming at each other. They're aiming at like their feet and like the top of their head. Still, you gotta admire the choreography. That shit's art.
Yeah. Even with one blade left, Darth Maul still kicks ass. Like, the sound design, like, and the choreography is just peak. And like, This goes back to the simpler days where lightsabers were insta kills, like Darth Maul stabbing Qui-Gon Jinn. There's no like bullshit like I have force healing abilities, or like enter any number of like modern day Star Wars movies or shows where like a stab with a lightsaber is not an instant kill. I miss the days where like that thing can cut through metal. How does that not insta kill you? You know?
Yeah, I can't agree with like the sequel trilogy where they're like they get hit by a lightsaber and they're like, ah, you know, they got a little burn mark right here.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, that shit should be off.
Yeah, and you're
You
like,
know?
isn't your lightsaber unstable? Why is it not more of an instant kill? You know?
Yeah, and if you say that's the reason why it bounces off, then that's not a practical lightsaber. Change it.
All right. I do love the Akira Kurosawa inference where Obi-Wan just cuts Darth Maul and you see a flash of red, and then nothing. You're like, that's pretty sick. Not gonna lie.
And then you just see the delayed body fall and just split apart.
Yeah.
I was like, that's cool. And you just see like his head just ping at the side of like the well that he's going into.
If we were making a review on the Phantom Menace, say like maybe 2007, I would dock points for wasting Darth Maul. But like, seeing how they revived Darth Maul to being from a throwaway villain to one of the greatest Star Wars characters ever, thanks to Dave Filoni, it's nothing short of a miracle. You're like, now he's one of my like top 5 favorite characters ever.
Agreed. I love that his rage, the fuel that like keeps him going, goes throughout Obi-Wan's life. You know, like some people move on from a breakup or from a bully. Not Darth Maul.
Yeah.
The man will follow you around until from your teens to your 80s, just hating you, and then loses. That's how petty this man is.
All to the theme of Kenobi.
Yeah, your mic did not pick that up, but yes.
Oh, I meant for it to be like low. I didn't want to blow up my mic.
It still blew up.
Oh man. Anyway, like we go back to like the less exciting stuff, like Queen Amidala wins. Anakin Skywalker has like a shit ton of memes after he blows up the Trade Federation. Do a barrel roll. That's a good trick. Everything settles down and Qui-Gon has a funeral. And like earlier before the Jedi Council refused to accept Qui-Gon acquiring a new apprentice because he's like, Obi-Wan's old enough, he's old enough to be a Jedi Knight. They're like, no, but after Qui-Gon's dead, they're like, you know what? Fine. We'll let you have Obi-Wan. We'll let Obi-Wan take care of Anakin. And as they're staring at the fire, he's like, I hope you're into foreshadowing because you're looking at it.
That's you in the future.
Anyway, we end with, of course, a celebration. Like every first Star Wars movie end of trilogy ends with like a big celebration, and usually the sequel has like a cliffhanger or like dark clouds ahead. But for now, for the prequel trilogy, it's again a celebration. Nice callback to A New Hope. Like, needless to say, this did bang at the box office. Not so much with like people years down the line where they're like, there's this thing called Phantom Menace where they're like, that wasn't that bad. You think about it, you're like, that is that bad.
No, you watch it again and you're like, holy shit, I guess I just like Star Wars.
Yeah, right. You're like, I just like this. Some movies, less so, like maybe like Attack of the Clones, where I watch it again, I'm like, yeah, I still don't like it. Or like The Last Jedi. Last Jedi, I had full on Phantom Menace thing where like, no, it's the best. Watches it again. Damn. What would you rate The Phantom Menace?
I'll grade the Phantom Menace a 6.5 out of 10. I still had fun with it because it's Star Wars, and I'm a sucker for Star Wars.
Yeah.
I love seeing these characters just go through the motion. I love seeing Qui-Gon Jinn and Ewan McGregor playing as Obi-Wan Kenobi. I love seeing Ray Park as Darth Maul. Like, just seeing how it's just 3 movies of a villain's origin story, which is kind of cool at the time and a little bit unheard of. Not really, but like, you know, you get what I mean. Because we had the God. Just seeing it just unfold, I was just like, that's so cool. But sadly, we get weird characters like Jar Jar Binks and like a lot of stereotypes, I would say. That I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't agree with. But I love it that it's still carried on into Clone Wars. You know, they're like, continuity has to stick. We're not gonna be George.
Like, damn you, George. Anyway, keep going.
Yes, he's that offensive Japanese accent.
We're keeping it. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I just love it that this is the Star Wars that we grew up with, and I love it that people saw, like Dave Filoni saw, that was potential in this storyline where they could tell it a little bit better. And yeah, they did. This sparked a new age of Star Wars fans, and it still has a very special place in my heart. But yeah, I have to admit, as a movie reviewer, there are a lot of parts where I'm just like, holy shit, this is dragging. Holy shit, that's offensive, and holy shit, that's annoying. You know? The CGI is blinding, the pacing's just off, and other than the good acting, there are bad acting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 out of 10 as well. Like, as a Star Wars fan, I want to give it higher, maybe even 8. But like, as a movie reviewer, I have to be fair. Like, the characters, some of the characters are great. Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Maul, Queen Amidala. But like, characters like Jar Jar, Watto, and like, the way they deliver exposition to, like, just sitting and walking. Sorry,
Yeah.
sitting and talking, walking and talking, floating and talking and walking. You're just like, this drags on for too long. Can you just show me some stupid gun thing again, please? I'm begging you, George. And like CGI, you're like, it hasn't aged that badly. Oh my god, I am wrong. I do want to give it to the prequels give props to the prequels for having consistency, at least when it carries over to Dave Filoni. Like, him being able to grow this whole timeline into making it something a lot better than what we had before. And now we can look back and be like, have a lot more fun memories of like, oh, I understand what everything means now. Whereas before, when we didn't have the Clone Wars, we were like, damn, what wasted potential. And you see how the cycle is repeated with every Star Wars trilogy after the originals.
Look, we just gotta let Dave Filoni just work on it, you know?
Yeah.
By the way, I heard that we have to admit, we haven't seen the Skeleton Crew, but I heard it was good.
Yeah.
That's why it's so quiet. I haven't heard any Star Wars fan talk about it, so that means it's good.
Are these not the vibes of like the Acolyte, or like one of the premiere? They're just like, I don't want to listen.
La la la.
They're just like, that's weird. There's no review bombing, no trolls. This is weird for a Star Wars guy. Oh fuck, I'm not used to this.
Yeah, like there's a disturbance.
Yeah, right.
You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Something's off with the community.
Fun movie, especially if you grew up with it. Still fun now, even though it ages poorly. Like, yeah, the stereotypes are just like, damn, I forgot the 90s were a different time and era, especially in Star Wars. It will always have a special place in the hearts of those who grew up with it. That's all I'll say about that. To the audience watching, what's your favorite of the prequels? Is it The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, or Revenge of the Sith? Whatever it is, comment down below. If you like what you see here, please leave a like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. You can also find us on Spotify and TikTok. Spotify to hear us on the go, TikTok to see our best and funniest moments and our reactions to the latest of trailers. And the William Douglas voices on TikTok and Answolf on Letterboxd. Where can they find you?
You can find me at JomGM_ on Instagram. It is my account.
Anyway, as you can see, the lineup for this week is the prequels, and that's not the only Star Wars lineup for this year, because another trilogy is having its big anniversary this year. It's because 10 years ago it premiered with The Force Awakens. So we'll be talking about that trilogy sometime later this year. So yeah, we have to watch The Last Jedi all over again.
That's fine. It's okay. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it. It's the job. I love Star Wars. It's fine.
But until Attack of the Clones, we'll see you there. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.